brother is an absolute success. The contestants are going about their daily lives inside the house, which means they're doing practically nothing. In the TV studio, the team is so busy preparing for the elimination party that they don't watch the news. There's been a riot in London and several people have died. Soon, the city is placed under quarantine and no one can enter or leave the area. On the road out of town, Rick tries to call his girlfriend Kelly, but she doesn't answer. At that moment, he notices a couple with a child asking for a ride, so he stops the car. Back at the studio, a hen party is underway and many former contestants from the real show make an appearance. The news continues to talk about social unrest and some kind of infection, but no one pays attention. Producer Patrick receives a call from two special guests who inform that they can't make it because all the roads are closed. Patrick just yells at them and orders them to come anyway. The guest's driver stops the car when he sees a wrecked vehicle nearby. He takes a closer look and is shocked to discover the dead victim coming his way. Meanwhile, Patrick finally checks the news and learns about the riots at Newcastle Pool that included police officers being killed. He complains that today's show might be interrupted by a news update. Staffer Kelly wanders onto the set to learn more about the show's production. Her phone rings just as she's passing behind one of the house's mirrors. So the contestants wait. Patrick immediately yells at her, so Kelly declines Rick's call. As the phone continues to ring, Kelly runs up the stairs to the roof to finally answer it. Rick explains that the couple who met him on the road stole his car and now he's waiting for the train home. Kelly tries to explain that she is busy and cannot talk. Then he reveals that he knows she is cheating on him with work collections because she is trying to get a higher position on the channel. An argument begins, but the call suddenly cuts out and the phones no longer have a signal. The timetable board at the train station also does not work. Kelly goes back inside and discovers that no one has a signal. She searches for papers in an office and is approached by Danny, who is interested in getting involved with her. The news continues to show dire updates like fires spreading throughout the country. Despite this, fans still gather outside the studio. Avina's host, who also hosts the actual show, contacts the house and announces that Pippas has been voted out tonight. On the road, the two guests drive as fast as they can because the driver has been bitten and they try to get him to get help. Since they don't have a GPS to find a hospital, they decide to take him to the studio since there's a doctor there. Minutes later, the driver dies as the car pulls up outside the studio only for him to open his now white eyes. Since no one gets out of the car, a guard approaches to investigate. He shines a flashlight at the window and finds a horrifying face. When Donnie's exits the studio to go to the store, he discovers one of the guests eating the guard. It turns out that the zombie apocalypse has arrived. While Davina welcomes Pippa into the studio for an interview, the production team notices that the news channel has lost signal outside. The zombies in the car find the crowd of fans and start attacking, causing everyone to panic and run. Several fans are bitten and soon there are more zombies in the area. Terrified, Danny runs to the control room, but the zombified guest knocks him down and kills him. The team also panics and starts running. Patrick heads down the hallway and closes the door, leaving a coworker to be killed by a zombie. He enters the bathroom and pushes a person in a wheelchair to leave her as a zombie's footsteps while he hides in a stall. In her earpiece, Davina is confused as she hears screams. The contestants also hear the fans screaming and think they are just excited. Soon, the fans enter the studio looking for a safe place to hide and more zombies follow them. A creature jumps on Davina and kills them as well. One by one, the production team and former contestants are bitten and turned into zombies. Meanwhile, back in the house, the current contestants continue to party. In a back office, Kelly argues with an employee Donnie's had a past affair with. At that moment, the zombie Danny appears and jumps on his ex, killing her quickly. He then tries to get behind Kelly, who runs to hide in another office and pushes a cabinet to block the door. While Danny continues to knock on the door, Kelly tries to use the phone, but there is no line. She turns on the TV and just finds one channel that works, but she barely hears anything about an attack before that channel also cuts out. After having a seizure, the Kellys fall asleep. The next morning, the contestants in the house still don't know what's going on in the country. Saul Space notices something. There was no morning alarm. They aren't reprimanded for forgetting their microphones and the confessional doesn't open. After seeing that the cameras aren't tracking him while he moves, Space tells the others that something is wrong. In the bathroom, Patrick waits for the zombie to leave. Pass is also transformed, but but doesn't know how to use the wheelchair, so he can't move, which means Patrick gets out without any problems. He takes the hallway and finds a zombified Davina who immediately starts chasing him. Patrick runs to hide in the nearest room and finds Pippa, who has kept herself safe. Kelly wakes up in the office and looks out the window to notice bodies everywhere. The phones and TV still don't work, so she has no choice but to go outside with a pair of scissors in hand. She opens the door and goes outside to find Danny, still feeding on his ex. He sees Kelly and tries to chase her, so she hides in the office again, but Danny stops the door from closing. After some struggle, he manages to knock Kelly down, who starts to puncture him with the scissors. He doesn't die until she reaches his head. Next, Kelly runs down the hallway and is immediately found by a zombie who starts chasing her. Also, she runs down the stairs and manages to get out, locking the door behind her to stop him, but he grabs her ankle, so she has to kill him with the scissors. Kelly needs to take the keys from a body to hopefully steal a car, but at that moment, some zombies find her and start chasing her. She runs through a fence and locks it before returning to the studio. This time, Kelly enters the hallways connected to the house and sees the contestants discussing what could be happening around the corner. She finds a zombie feeding on a body that quickly comes up behind her. She takes the first door she sees and ends up in the confessional. After a moment to calm down, Kelly enters the house. The group starts celebrating, thinking that a new contestant has arrived. Kelly tells them about the zombies, but he doesn't believe her. They think her bloodstains are makeup. Desperate, Kelly yells at the group, who are just making fun of her. Mark touches the emergency exit to provoke her and Kelly threatens to stab him. Thinking it's part of the show, Mark opens the door and a zombie immediately enters, knocking him to the ground. Half the group runs away while others try to help him, and the dead zombie kicks his leg. Kelly takes a fire extinguisher and crushes the zombie's head until it dies. The participants finally believe Kelly and want to leave, but they want to get out. So, she says they can't and takes them to the roof to show how bad it is outside. At the train station, Rick wakes up and finally accepts that the train isn't working. So, he leaves. While he's walking on the road, he finds a truck and hears a growl. A zombie immediately starts chasing him and Rick runs until he reaches the center of the city, where he hides inside a store. After Rick blocks the door with a refrigerator, Alex appears outside and shoots the zombie in the head. She tries to shoot Rick too, but he clarifies that he's normal. Alex makes him get some supplies from the store and takes him to his car. Unfortunately, the car breaks down in the middle of the road, so Rick tries to fix it. Every time a zombie tries to approach the vehicle, Alex shoots it. Night falls. Eric still hasn't made any progress. A horde of zombies finds them and Alex can't seem to shoot them all, so the duo starts running. Eventually he finds a house and jumps the fence to reach safety. Alex then he slaps Rick for not fixing the car and explains that it has no more bullets. They enter the house and are relieved to find it empty. In the office, Patrick and Pippa argue about every little thing. Patrick eats and drinks from the party table and keeps burping just to irritate Pippa. When he needs to relieve himself, he urinates in the trash can. After a nap, Patrick checks the hallway, but the zombie is still there and he has to close the door. Fear upsets his stomach, so he ends up defecating in the trash can too. Inside the house, Kelly cleans out the zombie's entrails and disposes of the body. After a few hours, Angel begins to go into shock. Kelly wants to kill her before she transforms, but the others refuse, so she convinces them to at least isolate her in the greenhouse. While tying Angel up, Brian explains that he's a medic but needs better supplies to help her. Kelly tells Space and Mark that there's a supermarket nearby that might have what they need. It's very risky to go outside, but if they don't, they'll starve to death. They go to the roof, and Space makes some noises that effectively attract the zombies' attention. This gives them an idea. Jocelyn and Veronica are sent to the roof to make a lot of noise, shouting and using pots and pans. As soon as the zombies are distracted, the trio exits through the back door. Space and Kelly make it to the car, but Mark takes too long to close the gate and is seen by a zombie. The participants on the roof warn him and Mark runs as fast as he can, managing to get into the car and finally escape. Upon landing, a piece of metal injures his arm. Moments later, they arrive at the supermarket and Space remains in the car while the others get in. Kelly throws a can to make noise, but no zombies come out, so he starts looking for supplies. Meanwhile, Rick is shocked to discover that the Big Brother broadcast is still on TV, but it's just a camera, so he can't see anyone. Alex finds a French broadcast on the radio, but the only word it understands is shelter. At the market, Space sees a police car passing by, ridden to get their attention. The police officers embed and point their guns at him, but lower them when they confirm that Space is not a zombie and even recognize him from the show. Inside, Kelly and Mark have gathered enough supplies and prepare to leave, but Mark accidentally knocks something over and the noise attracts two zombies. A chase begins and the duo runs out of the building. When the cops see the zombies, they open fire and one creature quickly falls, but the other manages to attack Bob before Dan shoots it in the head. Realizing that Bob has been bitten, Dan doesn't hesitate to kill him too. He notices the wound on Mark's arm and thinks he's been bitten, so he prepares to shoot him. However, Kelly takes Bob's gun and shoots Dan in the leg. A zombie then appears behind them, so the trio grabs the cop's gun too and runs to get into the car and escape while the zombie kills Dan. Back at home, Veronica takes a bath, then Joplin sneaks into the production hallway and spies on her. However, Veronica manages to guess what he's doing and reprimands him, so he goes into the greenhouse. Angel is desperate to move. Then, Brian takes pity on her and unties her. After a few minutes, she dies. Ron takes the scissors ready to stab her, but at that moment, she wakes up as a zombie. Seconds later, Veronica sees Graham stumbling out of the greenhouse with a bleeding throat and tries to help him, but the zombie Angel comes out too and knocks her down. Joplin witnesses all this from inside the house and closes the door. After some struggle, Graham manages to push Angel into the pool. As a zombie, Angel can't swim and therefore can't get out, so Joplin thinks it's safe enough for him to join Veronica. Soon Graham dies and becomes a zombie. Also, Veronica and Jin run back inside and close the door. Veronica wants to kill the zombies where the others won't be able to enter the house. Joplin says he can't fight, so Veronica slaps him, so he punches the window to distract Graham, allowing Veronica to open the door and call him. When Grayson runs in, Joplin throws a blanket over him and Veronica repeatedly stabs his head with a knife. In the parking lot, the car pulls in and Kelly runs to close the gate before the zombies can follow them. There's already a zombie in there, so Space hits him with a car and Kelly jumps back inside. When they get inside, they find Angel in the pool, so Kelly shoots him in the head. The group then crosses into the living room and appears on camera, as Rick is excited to see that Kelly is still alive. Alex checks the gate and finds a huge gate blocking it. Rick insists that he wants to join Kelly and doesn't listen to Alex. When she explains how risky it is, looking around the yard, Rick discovers that the house has access to the river and there is a boat. This river runs around the TV studio. Then Rick first. Alex complains that it's a crazy idea, but eventually decides to go with it. While traveling down the river, he finds the path blocked by a log, so Alex leaves the boat and goes forward to open it. At that moment, a zombie jumps on her from behind and Alex does her best to fight it off. After knocking him down, she starts hitting him with an axe until he dies. Rick comes to get her and discovers that Alex has been bitten. She gives the axe to Rick and after a final goodbye, Rick kills her. He continues his journey alone and when the engine runs out of gas, he has to row. Later, Mark goes to the roof and shoots any zombies that approach the house. In the office, Patrick is tired of waiting and looks for things he can use as weapons. He takes the metal pole from the lamp and makes Pippa open the door. When the Davina zombie tries to enter, Pippa closes the door to trap her and Patrick begins stabbing her with a pole until she dies. The duo finally exits the office and ignores the zombie feeding in the corner to move forward. They arrive at the control room and see the survivors eating dinner. Patrick uses the loudspeaker to ask the group to rescue them, but they refuse because it's too risky. An enraged Patrick abuses the control panel to play sound effects and lower the blinds, so the group has no choice but to agree to help. Space and Kelly exit and when a zombie approaches them, Mark fires from the roof. Inside the studio, another creature jumps at Space, but Kelly quickly shoots. He finds Patrick and Pippa in the next hallway and immediately exit the building together at the parking garage gate. They are horrified to discover that the horde has greatly increased in number but still managed to make it safely to the house. Patrick acts like an idiot and thinks he still has the right to be in charge, so everyone is irritated by his presence. Desperate to escape, Patrick thinks he should cut up Angel and Grayon's bodies and throw the pieces of meat at the zombies to distract them. Then he could get through the portals. Most of the group is terrified by the idea, so Patrick starts cutting alone while the girls have a meltdown. Meanwhile, Rick finally arrives at the finish and a zombie starts chasing him. As soon as he sets foot on solid ground, he starts running through the woods, encountering more zombies who also join the chase. Deep in the forest, he finds a fence and jumps over it to escape while the zombies get stuck. After a lot of walking, Rick finds a path that leads him to the studio, sneaking around to find an entrance. Mark sees him from the roof and thinks he's a zombie, so he opens fire. Rick runs to hide. yelling that he's a normal person. But Mark keeps shooting until Kelly makes him stop. She runs to open the back door and Rick comes in. Now, the couple reunites with a kiss. Kelly thinks he's come to save her. Then Rick explains, the zombies have taken over the world and there's nowhere to go. When Rick explains the same thing to the others, it's still not enough to change Patrick's mind and he announces that he's going to take the boat. No one wants to go together, so a long discussion begins. In the end, Patrick decides to go alone. Afraid that the zombies might come in if he opens the door, Kelly fires a warning shot. Patrick is still determined to get out, so Space grabs him and Eric knocks him out with the axe. After they tie Patrick up in the bathroom, the group discusses what to do with him since they can't trust him. Veronica thinks they need to kill him before he causes trouble, saying it's self-defense. Joplin relieves himself and takes pity on Patrick, so he removes the gag. Patrick tells her that the others are going to kill him and Joplin will become the next target, sharing all the horrible things the group said about Joplin in the confessional. Even the fans made signs calling him Golem. Joplin thinks Patrick is lying and runs out of the bathroom just to hear Veronica make Golem jokes about him. So, he goes back to the bathroom. The group doesn't like the idea of Veronica's assassination and Kelly proposes to incapacitate Patrick. They are interrupted by Joplin and Patrick who have stolen the weapons. Patrick takes Kelly hostage while Joplin takes the ground meat and the car keys. They leave through the back door and the others follow them. When Joplin gets to the car, he places the bowl of meat on the ground and accidentally slips on it. Rick uses the distraction to attack only to be shot by Patrick. Kelly covers the wound with her hands, but Rick dies anyway. Joplin gets into the car and drives towards the gate, forcing Patrick to grab the meat and run after him. An enraged Kelly grabs the dropped gun and opens fire on Patrick, but she is too unsteady to shoot accurately and has no more bullets. At that moment, Joplin opens the gate and the horde swarms in, killing him quickly. The survivors run back to the house and close the door without waiting for Patrick. He tries to throw the meat at the creatures, but they easily overpower him and kill him. 2 is now also out of the way to knock on the doors and may not break them down soon. Space notices that Pippa is missing and goes to look for her only to end up in the control room. When he speaks to the others through the microphone, Kelly demands that he lower the blinds. He presses the correct button and the blinds effectively protect the doors. Unfortunately, the zombies have found the studio hallway and are now gathering at the windows and mirrors of the house. Space warns his friends as Ellie demands that he open the confessional. Unfortunately, before Space can find the right button, the zombies appear nearby. He fights off a few monsters to fend them off and runs to hold the doors closed. At that moment, the other half of the horde breaks the windows and enters the house, quickly killing Mark and Veronica. As Kelly defends herself with the axe, Space notices that he has been bitten. He runs back to the control room and finally opens the confessional door, allowing Kelly to hide inside. After sad, Space notices that he is surrounded and one of the zombies is Pippa. Kelly tells him that since the others are dead, he is the winner of this season of Big Brother. She wants him to open the next door so she can get out, and Space refuses because of the horde waiting on the other side. However, Kelly stresses that she can't stay there forever and promises to fight her way out. Space opens the door and Kelly runs out with a scream. The next